Okay, took me a bit to find a shady spot to do this, so I don't have glare all over the lens. Or the screen, I can see what I'm doing here. All right, so today's stick, in a continuing series, another line of cigars that I enjoy, and that is the Deadwood from Drew Estates. And this one is the Girl with No Name, Lonsdale. 7x44, with a nice dark Habano wrapper. There's your. There we go. Yeah. And interestingly enough, this is a very look how flat that tip is. Oh, back a little bit. And of course, very colorful, very what's the word for it? Well, there's just a lot there. Deadwood cigars, it really makes them distinctive. And of course, if you know what Deadwood cigars are, they're cigars that are rolled with what would normally be pipe tobacco. So, somewhat like smoking a pipe. It's a little different experience for cigar smokers who've never smoked a pipe. The tobacco is a little bit different in flavor. But as someone who does both and enjoys both, these are great, man. I mean, and let's see, construction, yeah, exactly what you'd expect, man. Maybe I might not even say anything about that anymore. I mean, on a few occasions I've come across a cigar with a soft spot. Don't think I've ever come across a cigar with a hard spot, more like you might find with a plug or something like that. But generally, a few times, very few times, probably count them on one hand if I thought about it. It would be, softer spot where there was just a little less tobacco, a little less mass in that area, so it was a little more spongy, had a little more give. But anyway, yeah, Deadwood cigars, excellent. And I think I've had the Girl with No Name before. I know I haven't had it in this one. I believe the last time I had one, it was a Robusto. And again, I have been saying that I've really come to enjoy the short, large ring size cigars for when I don't have time for an extended smoking session. When I don't have time for a Robusto or one of the others, or a Churchill or something like that. Another way to achieve that same kind of thing is to go to a small ring size and a long length. That still gives you that like medium time frame smoke. It's not a short smoke. But it's also not a long smoke. I mean, something this ring size. And usually, the smaller ring sizes like this are usually easier to keep lit. And of course, easier to light because of the small. So let's see. Yeah, fair amount of toothiness there. The wrapper just looks a bit rustic, to tell you the truth. Which I guess with being the Deadwood brand or a line, that would be quite appropriate. Look at the large central veins running through. And pretty consistent in color. There are some lighter and darker spots, but man, it's just a nice, good looking color. Excuse me a moment. Oh yeah. it's that tobacco, but there is like a pleasantness, a sweetness to the aroma. And of course, that's because pipe tobaccos are called aromatics. I'm guessing that's the reason. I mean, why else would it be called that? But because just the aroma, it's so much like the standard fine cigar aroma, but there's that added, maybe it's a higher sugar content in the aromas, or just different set of, what do they call those things? The aroma and flavor compounds. But the chemical name for them I forget at the moment. But yeah, yeah, sweetened. Quite a sweet tip. Kind of surprised at how sweet it is. Nearly all of the Deadwood cigars. In fact, I can't think of an example of a Deadwood cigar that I've had that wasn't sweet. But that's nice. And of course, with something of this size, and especially, usually with this size, I just use a guillotine. But this, being that flat, and I can see where the cap is, and it's just, man, this is where a small gauge punch comes in real handy. I'm glad I picked this up. Let's see, we do it like this. But even with a punch this size, you still have to get that thing centered just right to be able to get a clean cut without damaging the cap. Because the cap is what holds it all together. And if that thing comes apart, smoking it becomes more of a job and a chore. Then kind of defeats the whole purpose, you know? I don't want to have to keep constantly licking and making sure I don't turn it the wrong way and all that crap. Yeah, no. And I do think some cigars that I've had have had poorly constructed caps. But anyway, let's give this a cold draw. Yep, there's a sweetness there. And a floral note. Very strongly floral. Although I don't think I could identify any particular type of flower, but just this, tasting it reminds me of walking into a room where there's a bouquet of fresh flowers, and that aroma just fills the room, fills the atmosphere. Well then, let's give it a toast and a light. Here we go. Ooh. Now, supposedly, Well, I shouldn't say supposedly. I mean, no reason to doubt, but these are not infused, but there is an infused adjacent flavor. There's the flavor of tobacco, of cigar tobacco, but then there's an added flavor. And this is a Nicaragua cigar. At least that's what the wrapper says. And yeah, well, Drew states Nicaragua. See if you can get a good picture of that. There you go, Nicaragua. There's a sweetness to the smoke. There's that good foundation of old leather, burnt cedar. I mention that in every video, but it's tobacco. And then there's the flavor on top of that, which is, I'm getting a very small amount of that peppery sensation. And in this case, it's very pleasant. It gives a nice, what would be the word for it? Almost a texture to the smoke, to the flavor. Kind of gives it a chewiness, I guess. That's how I describe my favorite style of beer, which is the dark, malty, full-bodied, thick, black, high alcohol. Things like stouts, wee heavies, triples, double box, just everything at the far end of the beer spectrum. Yes, again, like a floral flavor, sweet, aromatic. I was just smoking my pipe the other night, and I'm trying to recall whether this tastes very much like that, or is it something else again. Well, I chose this because I've got a journey, and I got to get going, and I'm going to enjoy this. Another one I strongly recommend to anybody, especially if you are it's kind of interesting. If you are an experienced cigar smoker, you might find this, and you've never smoked a pipe, you might find this very interesting. You might enjoy this. Or if you're a very new cigar smoker, I would especially recommend the Deadwood line, just any of them. And my favorite one was the cone, the pyramid. I think it's called a pyramid, but it's a cone shape. What was that? The Black Bottom Betty? Don't quite remember. But anyway, I do have to get going, so good smoking.